So, yeah, the theme I had selected for this evening is quite appropriate, actually. Grounding, because yeah, when there's a lot going on out there, which there is here with all the forest fires, it's really important to keep coming back to your center, to your roots. So a good practice for all of us. We all get pulled and pushed around by life in whatever ways are happening for us at the moment. But yeah, so always remembering to ground ourselves is important. So we'll particularly focus on the feet and the legs, do a bit of balancing, and maybe for those whose hips are okay with it, we might explore some lotus postures, because this is stretching and opening the ankle joints. And obviously listen to your body, and I'll provide options. So let's start lying on our backs. Come down to your backs, and we'll look at grounding primarily through the feet, but also other resources we have in the body for grounding. So just come to meet the floor. This, can be one of the best ways to ground if you're feeling really kind of scattered, fried, just lying on the ground, especially outside, the earth, immensely grounded. So just feeling that support of the ground, the earth beneath you. Even if you're upstairs, it's kind of, you're in some way connected to the earth. You can extend that visualization of connected, supported by the floor to supported by the earth itself. And let's just explore our kind of anchor rooting points here. So make sure, just kind of wriggle the soles of the feet, wriggle the toes a little bit to really get the skin of the soles of the feet firmly planted on the floor, like a sense of spreading and opening the skin of the soles of the feet. So often we have habitual patterning of scrunching the toes up and lifting the kind of center of the foot away from the floor, from the earth. So we try and do the opposite. We just give the skin of the sole of the foot to the earth. So see if you can, especially if you've got lovely mobile toes, see if you can kind of move the toes and feel one by one the toe pad touch the ground, and feel the heel and the big pad at the base of the big toe, all these points of contact. And then another anchor point is the sacrum. So just become conscious, aware of your sacrum for a moment. And a bit like we just did with the feet, if you need to do the same with the back, to feel the skin of the back spread and open to the support of the floor, then just do that now. Maybe you need to shrug the shoulders back a little bit, turn the palms up, to just really relax and release and open and spread the skin of the back. So feel the soles of the feet anchoring you to the earth, feel the sacrum anchoring you to the earth. And in this position, also the tips of the shoulder blades and the back of the head. Just feel yourself heavily, kind of actively in a way, in that we're actively surrendering the body to the floor. So we're heavying the body to the floor. Let's have a sense of breathing into and out of the soles of your feet for a moment. Breathing in earth energy, breathing out your energy back to the earth. It's like this reciprocity. And do the same with your sacrum, so that you're breathing into and out of the sacrum in reciprocity with the earth. Drawing up that earth energy into the sacrum, and breathing your energy into the earth, especially that which you no longer need. You can give it to the earth to be recycled. Just feel the support of this, literally the support, but also on other layers of our being, how this is a resource of support, to just lie on the earth and feel held and release ourselves to that support. Feel your body relaxing as you do this. It starts to feel safe and held and supported. The nervous system balances, settles. a couple more deep breaths. Exhaling the ground. And then when you're ready, just with a sense of that lovely word pandiculation, that thing that we do when we wake up and that animals do all the time, a kind of intuitive stretch. You feel an impulse to move and you follow it. So just take the arms overhead and stretch however feels good. Often if we're following our pandiculatory impulse, and you can see this in animals, there's a kind of a spiraling, or it's not just totally linear. There's some kind of fluid movement. Watch a cat stretch for inspiration. And as we're stretching the arms overhead, just start to flex and point the feet or the ankles. So just pushing out through the heels, toes to the shins, and then pointing the toes away. So just start to mobilize the ankle joints. Explore our ankle mobility today. Great. And then when you're ready, just hug your right knee into the chest, bringing the hands forward, and just start to circle that right ankle. So we're anchoring down through the left, but you can keep that left foot flexed, or you could keep it totally pointed if you prefer. And then just change the direction of the ankle circle. So try not to move the knee, try to isolate the movement in the ankle. If we do this long enough, we should really start to fatigue those muscles in a good way, which is great. We're getting the blood flowing into the ankle joint. And then take a strap or something instead of a strap around the widest part of the right foot and stretch the right leg up to the ceiling. So we're at our flex in both feet now, we're pushing out through both heels. And then just draw circles on the ceiling with your right heel. So we're actually getting into the hip joint here, but we want to feel like we're expressing up and out through that right heel, and the movement is being initiated with that right heel. So circles can be very small, make them as big as feels good for you, or as small, and just notice how moving the foot like this moves the hip and change direction with circles. You could start to explore bigger ones, or really small ones, or spiral them in and out. And then just take a few figures of 8. So again, it's like we're drawing this figure of 8 with the heel. Nice smooth motion here. And then from here, just release the strap. We're going to bend the left knee, so plant and open the sole of the left foot on the floor, and flex the right foot and take the right ankle onto the front of the left thigh, or just further over to the left so the heel is free. And we're going to do that thing where we feed the fingers through the spaces between the toes. So your first finger is going to go between the space between the big toe and the first and the second toe. Your middle finger is going to go through the next gap, and you should find your little finger goes through the gap between the fourth and fifth toes, the little toe and the fourth toe. And you might need to use your other hand to help. I certainly do, because I do not have mobile toes particularly. And try to get the fingers as far through as possible. Some of you might be able to get the root of the fingers to the root of the toes. That's ideal, but I mean, I can't. So just go as far as you can. And then hopefully we've now threaded our fingers through the toes, and we're going to use our left hand to circle the right ankle again. So you might need to bring the left foot off the floor to reach that foot, that right foot, if needs be. But the right ankle is resting on the front of the left thigh. And we're circling the right ankle, we're steering the toes with the hand, and then change direction. So what we're doing here is we're creating space between the bones in the feet and between the toes. This is very beneficial for the feet, which tend to get all crunched and cramped up because we wear shoes all the time. We've evolved from apes. We're not supposed to wear shoes, even, well, that's probably the wrong way to say it, but our feet were designed as bare feet, and so we compromise the capacities of our feet with shoes. Okay, so from here, we're going to squeeze the fingers into the toes. So we're flexing the toes. We're pushing the toes towards the top of the foot by just kind of lifting that left wrist, pushing the fingers into the toes. So just flexing the toes. So you should feel a strong stretch around the foot. Just be careful, be gentle. Flexing the toe joint, toes towards the top of the foot. And then scrunch the toes into the fingers. So we're kind of almost pointing. It might not be a big point because the fingers are in the way, but you're kind of doing the opposite of what you just did. Now the toes are working. You're scrunching, really actively scrunching toes into fingers. Okay. And then just release and gently extricate your fingers from your toes and take both feet down again to the floor. And I love this moment. Just close your eyes and just really tune in to the difference between your right foot and your left foot. And I always find, I almost feel like my right foot's like gone into the earth. It's really, really rooted, grounded. It's much, much, much more connected to the earth just by stimulating the nerve endings on the foot, giving the foot a bit of attention, opening it up. When we then reconnect with the earth, the connection, for me anyway, is much more intimate and grounded. So let's even ourselves up. And this will really benefit what we're going to explore balancing today. So this is a good start for a balancing class. Okay, so left outer ankles on the front of the right thigh, or it might be easier to just push the foot a little bit over to the right so you can have the heel free. You might need to bring the right foot off the floor to reach that foot. And again, we're going to feed the fingers through the spaces between the toes as far as you can. So kind of wriggle them through, use the other hand if you need. Try to get as close as you can to base of toes or root of toes joints meeting root of finger joints. So hopefully you can kind of get a grip. You've gone far enough through that you can kind of squeeze the hands into the toe and get a good grip onto the toes. And then we're going to use that grip to steer the right foot. And you can maybe stabilize the left ankle with the left hand so that we can make sure we're just moving the foot. This is super beneficial if you suffer from bunions, or which I do, that kind of toe joint, big toe joint distortion. This can be very helpful for just bringing awareness and space back into these areas where we'll come out of alignment. Not necessarily going to fix it, but it's going to help. It's going to help stabilize. Okay, change direction if you haven't already. And then we're going to kind of scrunch the fingers into the toes to flex the toe joints. So we're pushing the toes towards the top of the foot. If you do have issues with your feet, obviously being really sensitive to that, listening to any pain feedback and not blasting through that feedback. Just trying to find that edge of stretch and holding. Should feel quite delicious if you find that edge, like the fascia's opening, stretching. And then do the opposite, scrunch the toes into the fingers. So you're now working the toes. And so the foot's kind of, that was a flex, now it's kind of a point. And just hold and sustain that work in the toes, that's scrunching. And then extricate gently, take both feet down to the floor again, and just feel the connection between the soles and the floor. And I don't know about you, but I always find this a very effective practice of feeling like, okay, I've arrived, I'm grounded through my feet. So just enjoy and just feel how alive the feet are. They're full of nerve endings, the feet, absolutely full. So they're tingling, they should be kind of tingling and responding well to having this attention put on them. So when you're ready, we're going to just roll onto our hands and knees. Oh, we haven't done the left leg. Have we done the left leg? No. Sorry, guys. Okay, so we're going to draw the left knee into the chest and circle the ankle. This is why I need to ground this evening. If I have already done the left side, please somebody just indicate to me. Okay, good. So again, we're stabilizing the left knee joint and only moving the ankle and change direction. Okay, and then when you're ready, we'll take a strap around the widest part of the left foot and extend the leg up into the air. And we're at full flex in both feet. So hopefully you all know flex and point. Flex toes towards the shin, point is the opposite, toes away. And we're expressing up and out through that left heel, and then we're kind of drawing circles, except we're painting circles with the heel on the ceiling. So feel like you're initiating the movement with that left heel. And again, just let the circles be as small or as big as feels right for you. Probably matching what you did on the other side, more or less, and change direction. But keep expressing up and out through the heel. Keep flexing that foot. And then those figures of eights. I know some people find this very challenging. Good for the brain hemispheres. Anything where we're kind of swapping left to right, right to left is really good for balancing right and left side of the brain, and therefore our beings are yin and yang, masculine, feminine, rational, intuitive. So figures of eights are great. And change direction if you haven't already. Blow the mind a little bit more. And then release. Just bring both feet in, both knees into the chest for a moment. Maybe going back to that sacral anchor point, just taking a little rock side to side or little circles on the sacrum. So just opening up that area of the body. We will focus on a little bit today. And as always, I just share my personal experience through my own practice, and I find the sacrum very grounding. We'll also look at the root lock in November. So when you're ready, just roll to one side and push yourself up to your hands and knees. Come to tabletop. And we'll do cat-cows, but we'll do them with just some foot awareness as well. So as you inhale, tuck the toes under and come into the cat, lifting the tailbone, dropping belly, looking up. And as you exhale, it's like we tap the tops of the feet down and come into that cat shape, drawing the chin to the chest. So keep your awareness in your feet. Move between the two positions, matching breath and movement. Keep that going. And at the end of your next exhale, so the toes should be toenails on the floor. Just sink the hips back onto the heels, coming into a child's pose. You can keep the hands forward or bring them back. And just gently rock side to side. So you feel like you're moving, it's like you're gently massaging the tops of the feet. You're moving from one side to the other. Obviously, we're moving in the pelvis, but this is also gently massaging, stretching the muscles, the bones, everything on the front of the feet. The feet are very complex structures. There's many, many bones and muscles. And then slowly walk the hands, bring the hands into the knees and come to kneel. Again, just staying with our foot focus. Just take the hands forward so you can tuck the toes under. And if you have resistant toes like mine, just use your hands to actually fold the toes under. And then as best we can, we're going to come to bring the spine upright. So if it's just too intense, you take the weight forward, you might even need to keep the fingertips on the floor. So especially if you've got arthritis or any issues, bunion issues, just be careful. But otherwise, we try to come to as close to spine straight as possible. Drop the tailbone, hands on the thighs, and just try to relax. And we're going to try and take 5 slow, deep breaths. 1, relax the jaw. You can always come forward if you need. 2, 3, 4, 5. Well done. Slowly come forward. Ease yourself off the toes. Come to bring the toenails back on the floor. Come back to kneel. And then stretching the front of the feet. So just pause for a moment, just let that integrate. It's quite strong work. For me, it's very intense. And then when you're ready, take the hands back, just fingertips pointing forward, and see if you can lift the knees off the floor. So now we're really stretching the front of the feet again. And again, just modify, so you could just hover the knees like a millimetre off the floor, or if you feel quite safe, you could bring them higher up, but really listen to that feedback. And if you feel really safe and stable, the ankle's not weak or problem for you, then you could raise the hands and come into this kind of strange version of the boat. Otherwise, use your hands for support, because much more pressure goes down through the ankles without the hands on the floor. A couple more breaths. And slowly bring the knees down, bring the hands forward. And we're going to come into a downward dog. So just tuck the toes under and just take a moment to really walk the feet out here, and maybe even pivoting a bit on the feet as well at the same time, which will move the hips side to side. So either just straight up and down if that feels good. So we're just walking the feet out, or if it feels good, just add a little foot pivot, taking the heels and the hips to one side, heels and hips to the other side. So we're just walking ourselves into the downward dog. And then when you're ready, just come to stillness, make sure the feet are parallel. Really, actually, before we settle completely, just come high on both feet. So we're just on the toes. We're again flexing that toe joint, lifting the heels really high. And then it's like we want to keep the hips high, like somebody's pulling our hips up towards the ceiling as we just stretch the heels down towards the floor. So we try not to let the hips sink too much. And then you should feel that strong stretch on the back of the heels, back of the ankles, the Achilles tendon. Just relax the jaw, lots of space around the ears, firm the front of the thighs to help you stretch the backs of the legs and draw up on the kneecaps. And connect to Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha. We will have a look at Mula Bandha, but for now, just think about lifting up the center of your pelvic floor, the perineum, and hollowing out the lower belly. Another way to ground and center yourself is to connect your deep core awareness. Breathe deep. And then just one time, we're just going to come to the plank. So just come high onto the toes again, roll the spine forward until the shoulders arrive over the wrists, and then extend through the body, crown of the head forward, heels back. So we're very active and long here, lifting the front body up, pressing the floor away, actively with the hands, legs strong. Knees can come down to tabletop if you need, no problem. Okay, and then from here, just press back to down. I'm going to walk the feet to the hands. So when you're ready, just take the hands off the floor if you need, but end up with your feet underneath your hips. So parallel, our trenches of the feet parallel. And bend the knees if you need. Just have your fingertips on the floor or blocks. We just want to take a moment to really spread the toes. So you might even want to lift the heels like we just did in downward dog and plant the heels down and check that we're not scrunching up the toes, lifting the soles of the feet away. So remember that sensation of spreading the skin of the soles of the feet. We want to keep that even here. And then just play with your balance, like coming forward into the toes, back into the heels, over to the kind of left, over to the right. And then find the sweet spot. Imagine you're standing on wet clay and you want to have an even imprint of your feet into the clay. So just try to find that, because if we can start to rectify our imbalances in the feet, then this has a ripple effect through the body, because everything is connected. All the kind of asymmetries, in a way, end or start in the feet. So if we can fix it here, we're going to really help the body come back to balance. So just a couple more breaths, hands on the floor or blocks for stability. And just notice, do you feel like you're pressing more through one foot than the other? Can we even that up?
Does one foot feel more pronated to like collapse to the inside than the other, or vice versa, out to the little toe edge? And then from here, bring the hands to the hips, take a bend into the knees and slowly press yourself up. So feel like you're pressing through the feet to come up. It's that roots to rise. We press down to come up. And arrive standing up with your feet hip distance apart. So we're just going to stay with the foot focus a little bit more, and then we'll kind of use that to come into a balancey flow. So feet hip distance and parallel, and just go side to side. So we're kind of supinating and pronating. Pronating is when we come to the big toe edge. So one foot will be pronating whilst the other is supinating. Supinating is when you come to the little toe edge. So we're just rolling from edge to edge here, massaging the bases of the feet and kind of mobilizing the ankle in a different way, side to side. And then see, again, I'm going to challenge your brain, see if you can draw figures of 8 with the pelvis, like a flat figure of 8, so it's parallel to the floor. And this is going to take you, and notice what happens to your feet. So let's see, we're going to go take the hips over to the back of the left heel, to the left little toe, cross at the center to the back of the right heel, right little toe, back to the center, back of the left heel, forward to the left little toe, back through the center line. So you can kind of initiate the movement of the pelvis through the feet. Just explore. It doesn't really, nobody's watching you apart from me, and I'm not watching you. I'm letting you do what you need here. So just kind of maybe close the eyes and feel what's going on in your feet, and let that direct the pelvis. And then change direction. Sometimes this can really throw you. And it doesn't really matter what we do. It's massaging feet and the ankles and getting that connection. Everything's connected between feet and pelvis. In a way, 2 of the key areas to work with coming to balance in. Okay, and then slowly you come back to stationary at the center. Great, so let's use this to come straight into a balance, and then we will flow. But let's just explore how a balance feels after all this foot focus. So we'll come into the tree, but we'll transition from the tree into the eagle. This is going to be my invitation. Okay, so left foot first, just feel that opening, that spreading, that firmly planting the left foot down. And when you're ready, left hand can be on the hip. You're going to pick up the right foot and place it in position. So the toes are going to point down towards the floor. Inner thigh, inner calf, inner ankle, just anywhere except the inner knee joint. And then really press that right heel into the left thigh and resist with the left thigh. So we're sucking everything into the center line and connect to your lumbar bundle or your pelvic floor lifting. Okay, so we can stay here, or feeling like you're pressing down through the sole of that left foot to create lift and length through the body. We reach the hands up above and open the hands just wider than the shoulders. Draw the shoulders down the spine. And then find a steady gaze point. And just put your awareness in your left foot for a moment. Spread the left toes. Feel like as you push down through the left foot, you're drawing energy, earth energy up through that left leg, all the way up through the torso, up the spine, out through the fingertips. So feel this rooting down to rise. Inhale, bring the palms together. If you feel stable, interlace all the fingers and the thumb, Kali Mudra, except the index fingers, and slowly take the gaze upwards. This is optional. Keep pressing that right heel into left thigh, resisting with left thigh. Keep spreading the left toes. If you've looked up, look forward. So at this point, you could come out and then into the eagle. If you can, straight to Garudasana. We're going to cross the right thigh on top of the left. Maybe, if it's available, hooking the foot behind, the right foot behind left calf. Bring the left arm on top of the right and either hold opposite shoulder or wrap the forearms. Find the center line through the body. Find your steady gaze point. Stay here or come into the full position by bringing the elbows towards the knees. I know this is really tricky. Don't worry if you fall. but keep some awareness in your left foot. You won't stay too long. Inhale, come back out. Try not to spring as you open back out and return to Tadasana. And take a moment. You might need to just lift up that left foot or just do the little, again, because the ankles are very related, just doing a little hip side to side can just ease the ankles and shake them out. Well done. Let's go to the other side. Spread the toes on the right foot, become aware of your standing leg, firm the thigh, keep that right hip sucking in as you pick up the left foot, place it in position, anywhere except the inner knee joint, press the heel into the right leg, resist with the right leg, so we draw everything together, connect to Mula Bandha. Steady gaze. Inhale the hands up through the center line above the head. Exhale, open the hands just wider than the shoulders. Draw the shoulders down, but reach. And again, put your awareness in your right foot. Spread and open the toes and feel like you're actively pressing down. And as you do that, you should feel this kind of lift and spaciousness up through the body, like there's a spaciousness around the hips and in the spine, all the way out through the fingertips. Direct relation between rooting and rising. Stay here or bring the palms together and interlace everything except the index fingers. And if you feel stable, explore taking your drishti, your gaze point up towards your hands. And then bringing it forward again. If you looked up, either come out and come into the eagle, or transition if you can by straight into eagle by crossing left thigh on top of right, hooking a foot if available, bringing right arm on top of left, holding opposite shoulder, or wrapping the forearms and the palms. Find your steady gaze point. Squeeze the inner thighs together. Connecting your Mula Bandha, and maybe bring the elbows down to meet the knees. Steady gaze point. This is the eagle, so you can have that kind of steady gaze like an eagle looking for its prey. Very focused. This posture requires extreme focus. And then slowly unwinding, try not to explode out of the posture, come back to Tadasana. Well done. And just feel both feet on the ground. Just take Tadasana with the feet together, maybe a little gap between the feet or the heels, and just close the eyes here. And like we did in the forward fold, put all your awareness in the soles of your feet and see if you can rectify any imbalances between left and right, or between the outer and inner edges of the feet, or the toes and the heels. You could feel a nice way I like to work with it is to feel these 3 points, one at the base of the little toe, one at the base of the big toe, and one in the center back of the heel. It's like a triangle, and that I'm evenly pressing through these 3 points. And again, feel that pushing down to rise up as you root and down through the soles of the feet. Feel the crown of the head rise. Feel the sides of the neck lengthen. And feel with the eyes closed that Tadasana is actually, it's a balance. We'll be making lots of micro movements. And eventually, sometimes we just feel the sweet spot of stillness. So we really are like the mountain. Okay, so from here we're going to explore grounding with a bit more movement. So we'll do some sun salutations, but I'm going to put variations in that involve balances. Okay, so let's be prepared for the balance. We'll take half moon and warrior 3. So have blocks handy if your hamstrings are tight. Just have a block close by. So come to stand at the front of the mat. And just ground down into Tadasana again, root to rise, crown of the head lifting, sides of the neck long. Connect to your breath. And then when you're ready, inhale, raise the hands and look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, look up, stay connected to the feet. Exhale, step or jump back to the plank. Really feel the toes, joints stretching here as you inhale. Exhale, lower down, knees on or off the floor. Inhale, flip the toes so you're on the tops of the feet and come to your back bend. And exhale, see if you can roll over the feet again. and come to your downward dog. So feel these transitions as foot massages as well, as we roll back and forward over the toes. Take a couple of breaths in downward dog, just really checking in with the feet, that you're spreading the toes, that you're lifting the hips and drawing down through the heels, stretching the back of the heels. And then when you're ready, we're going to inhale, raise the right leg, so three-legged dog, and exhale, step the right foot between the hands, spin the back foot, so the toes are in front of the heel, and we're going to open straight out into triangle, Trikonasana. So you might need a block or right hand on the shin or foot, slide the right hand up the leg to wherever feels comfortable, and if it feels okay, look up to your top hand. And then awareness in the feet. This is our focus today, spreading the toes, actively meeting the floor with the feet and feeling that rebound energy travel up the legs all the way out through the left fingertips. And as I promised, we're going to be doing balancing. So bring the left hand to the left hip, turn to face your right foot. This is where you might need a block. Bend the right knee and bring your fingertips to the floor underneath your right shoulder. So forwards and slightly to the outside of the right leg into the half moon, and your right hand could be on a block. Raising the left leg, toes of the left foot pointing forward, maybe raising that left hand, maybe exploring the drishti either forward or up to the top hand. If you feel wobbly, you can keep the gaze to the floor. Spread the toes of the right foot and draw that energy up the right leg as you push down through the right foot, and stay aware of the left foot as well. One more breath. And then bending the right leg slowly as possible, bring the left foot back, inhale your way up and turn to the front. Exhale, take the hands down. Your choice, you could take child's pose or downward dog, or another chance to stretch the toe joint in the plank. Exhaling down to chaturanga. Inhale, rolling over to the tops of the feet, so massaging the toes, and then rolling back over into downward dog. Just take a couple of breaths in child's pose or downward dog between sides. And when you're ready, we're going to inhale, raise the left leg up to the ceiling, so three-legged dog. Exhale, step the left foot between the hands, or come to the knees and bring the foot forward if you need. Spin the back foot, toes in front of the heel, and then you just kind of climb your left foot up the left leg wherever it needs to get, so you can open yourself to Trikonasana on the other side, taking the gaze up to the top hand if appropriate for your neck. And then awareness in the feet. So often, I see it a lot, and I do it a lot, we scrunch the toes up. So we keep consciously spreading the soles of the feet and pressing actively down. And as you do so, you should feel space in the body. As we press down, we open up like a flower, can only blossom and unfurl when it's spread its roots down. And then transitioning into our half moon, bring the right hand to the right hip. Hopefully you've got your block this side now. Bend the left leg, walk, step the right foot forward until the left hip is above the ankle. Left hand should end up being more or less underneath your left shoulder. And we raise the right leg, and we're internally rotating the right leg so the toes are pointing forward, and we're pressing out through the heel. Eventually the right heel is in line with the hip. Raising the right hand if appropriate, and maybe exploring the shifting of the drishti forward or up. Connect to your core, your deep core muscles here. Another way of anchoring in to our center rather than to the earth, but still very grounding. Breathe deep. Keep awareness in the right leg. Spread the toes of the left foot. And then at the end of your exhale, bend the left leg. Bring the right foot down. Inhale your way up. Turn to the front. Take the hands down. And either child's pose, downward dog, or once again, really stretch the toe joints in the plank here. Exhaling down to chaturanga. Inhale, rolling onto the tops of the feet for upward dog. Exhale, rolling over the feet to downward dog. Taking 2 or 3 breaths, spreading the toes, opening the soles of the feet. Downward dog. And at the end of your next exhale, look forward, walk, step, or maybe a jump where you come high onto the toes and then stuck. We'll hop the feet forward. Inhale to look up, exhale, fold. Now, as we come up, we press through the feet and we feel the rebound of energy, unfurl the body up, stretching up, but keeping awareness in the feet and exhaling back to Tadasana here. And just take a breath. Okay, we'll do another variation with a balance. So when you're ready, again, keep your awareness in your feet throughout. Inhale, raise the hands, but press down through the feet as you do so. Exhale, forward fold. Toes are spreading. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, step or jump back to the plank or knees down. Inhale here. Exhale, lower, knees on or off the floor. Inhale, roll onto the tops of the feet. Upward dog. Exhale, roll back over the toes. Downward dog. Just take a couple of breaths here. And then from here, look forward. So we'll do the leg raise again. So inhale, raise the right leg. Exhale, bring it through between the hands or come to the knees and bring the right foot through. And then step the back foot in quite a bit. So we're coming into Parsvottanasana, the pyramid pose. So your heels are in line. There's not a big gap between the heels. Left toes are in front of left heel. You might need to bring the hands onto the shin if you've got the luxury of 2 blocks or 1 block actually. You could put the hands on top of the block in front of the right foot as I'm showing here. Okay, so we're just folding over the right leg, dropping the head, trying to keep the legs straight as best we can. And again, awareness in the feet. So first of all, spread the toes of both feet. And what we want to feel in this posture is that we've got 50% of weight on the front foot and 50% on the back foot. So try to find that, try to kind of feel both feet simultaneously. And we're pressing down to rebound up through the legs. Okay, and then this is where blocks might be handy. If you've got 2 blocks, brilliant. 1 can work, but we're going to come through a kind of half warrior 3 into an invitation for full warrior 3. So for the half warrior 3, we're going to take the fingertips forward, quite far forward, so that when we lift the back leg, the hands are more or less underneath the shoulders. So this is where, if you've got 2 blocks, you would have your hands on blocks instead. If you've only got 1, you can just have the block in front of it and have both hands on the block more or less underneath the shoulders. Obviously, they're not going to be underneath the shoulders because they're closer together, but roughly that far forward. So we're not quite in a full balance yet, and we're raising the left leg, we're flexing the left foot, pressing out through the heel. Really connect to your core. So you could just stay here. Otherwise, we can see if we can lift up the hands. So the easier option is to reach the fingertips behind us. The second easier is out to the side like a bird. And then maybe we might want to explore full warrior 3, taking the hands forward, palms facing each other. Try not to scrunch up the toes of the right foot. 1 more breath if you can. And then to come out of this, we're going to pivot to stand. So just bring yourself to stand, bring the left foot next to the right foot. Just coming up, and we're going to just exhale, take a forward fold. So just forward fold over the legs here. Maybe you want to just walk the feet out to hip distance apart. You can let the arms dangle or hold the opposite elbows. And again, once again, explore that even imprint in the wet clay of your feet here and the spreading of the toes. Great. Bring the hands to the hips, press through the feet to bring yourself up. And we'll do that on the other side. So step the feet together. Awareness in the feet, we press down as we inhale, raise the hands up. So stay connected to the feet. Exhale, forward fold, drop the head. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, step, walk or jump back to the plank or tabletop, and inhale, stretch the toe joint. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, roll over the toes to the top of the foot, upward dog. Exhale, roll back over the toes, downward dog. Taking a couple of breaths here, spreading the toes, opening the soles of the feet, breathing, connecting in with your center. And then when you're ready, inhale the left leg up high, exhale, step it or bring it between the hands. And again, we just walk the right foot in at least a foot's length. Right toes are in front of the heel. The heels are more or less in line. Use your supports as you need here, or put the hands on the shin and drop the head into Parsvottanasana. And again, try to find that 50% weight distribution, 50-50 on both feet here. Feeling that you're sucking up that earth energy up the legs. Feeling that extension through the spine, the crown of the head. Couple more breaths. And then we're going to transition to that halfway house to warrior three first. So connect to your core as we transition, and then just bring the hands forward as you lift the back leg. So your hands are on a block if needs be, or two blocks, or the floor underneath the shoulders or in line with the shoulders. We're squaring the hips and we're pressing out through that back heel. We're opening the sole of the left foot on the floor as well, and opening the sole of the right foot. And then you could stay here or really connect to your core, bend the left knee if you need as you transition. It might be easier to transition to fingertips back first, or you could maybe transition straight to the full posture, hands forward, palms face each other, or out to the side. So your version of warrior three, all stay with the halfway house. Try not to scrunch up the toes of the left foot if you can. One more breath, stay connected to your core. And then again, we come out by pivoting to bring the right foot down next to the left, coming up to stand. And one more time, we're going to just maybe step the feet to hip distance apart first. Inhale, look up, and exhale, forward fold. So just come to relieve the hips and buttocks with one more forward fold here, spreading the toes. I've taken recently to, when I do my forward fold, I'm actually putting my hands on the top of my feet. I'm using my fingers to spread the toes. Don't know if you can see that, but to lift the base of the toes up, spread them, place them down, and then I press my hands down onto the tops of my feet. It's just what I found myself do recently. And I think it's because it's helping me ground and find that kind of even pressing. But whatever you feel here, you could again just let the arms dangle, hold the elbows, Padahastasana, fingers around toes, whatever feels good. Couple more breaths. And then we're going to just come into a squat. So bring the hands forward onto the floor, walk the feet to mat distance apart, toes can be pointing out, and sink the hips as low as they'll go. So it might be that you're just halfway down, elbows on the thighs. If there's problems with the knees, no problem. Have the hands on the floor if you need, or bring them together at the center of the chest. Use your elbows to press the inner knees, inner thighs outwards. So Malasana, a very grounding posture. So I know for some of us, the heels are off the floor, or we might be pronating, we might be collapsing to the inner edge of the feet. If you are pronating, see if you can rectify that a little as best you can. Try to, again, evenly press through the feet. But don't worry if the heels are off the floor. It's fine. Just ground through this sense of the weightiness of the pelvis, whatever parts of the feet are touching the floor. And again, with that grounding comes the rebound energy up the spine, so we feel chest lifting, the sides of the neck long, the crown ascending. Breathing deep. One more breath. Grounding it down with the exhale. And then we're going to come to seated. So you might want to just bring your hands behind you and just sit yourself down from here. And come to a cross-leg position if that's comfortable. You could be in any other seated position, but ideally we're cross-legged, or Siddhasana, heel in front of heel, or Sukhasana, shin in front of shin, or just crossing the ankles. Sit on a block if you need. So we're just going to have a little exploration with Mula Bandha, and then we'll come to some seated stretches with optional half lotus. Okay, so just settle the base of your body, settle your pelvis, so wriggle if you need, until you feel the sit bones connecting to the block or the floor. So this is another way we can ground, is just by coming to a seated position and really feeling the base of the pelvis drop, and the tailbone, the base of the back, just start to drop. So rather than lifting it up, overarch, we drop, we anchor the tailbone, and we feel that rebound lift through the spine, drawing the shoulders back and down. chin in. Hands can be anywhere that's comfortable. If you want to be more grounded, you could take the Jnana Mudra, thumb to finger, but turn it down, turn the palms down. This is Chin Mudra, same finger thumb connection, but the palms turned down is more grounded. Just as we sit here, we're just going to simply connect to the seat of Mula Bandha and breathe from that awareness. So when we're not used to working with the bandhas, the cue is to draw up on the center of your pelvic floor, the perineum, trying not to engage the anus, the anal sphincter muscles. We try to keep the anus relaxed and just draw up on the center, the PC muscle, the pubococcygeal muscle, the right in the center of the pelvic floor. So if you imagine where the pubic bone is and the coccyx is, the tailbone, the point between the two. And this is also like the center of the perineum. And for men, this is the seat of Mula Bandha. So you can start with this, and it's not a big effort. It's a subtle awareness more than anything. So we don't want to be squeezing the belly. We don't want to be frowning, straining. We just want to feel an activation, keeping the anus relaxed. All the muscles around the vaginal entrance relax. It's between. And for women, the seat of Mula Bandha is actually the cervix. So if you have that capacity, you could take your awareness deep inside and feel an activation or a gentle contraction of the cervix, because it is a muscle like other muscles. We can voluntarily contract the cervix when we develop that level of awareness. Everything else relax. So if you can, just hold this awareness and just take about 5 or so slow deep breaths, ujjayi breaths if you know it. But it's like we're breathing from that place. We're drawing the energy up the spine from Mula Bandha, the root lock. The root lock is sealing the energy in at the base, all the way up to the crown of the head. And as we exhale, we're breathing it back down the spine or the central energy channel, Sushumna Nadi, and we're releasing it all the way down to Mula Bandha. Mula Bandha holds, seals the energy in. Practice Mula Bandha breathing, a few more rounds. This can be really good grounding rules to breathe from this center of awareness. Try to keep it as relaxed and subtle as possible. Try not to over effort in your muscle activation. Check anus, vaginal muscles are relaxed if possible. Very subtle work. And then just let that go completely. Just feel a kind of relaxing, releasing, spreading of the pelvic floor. And just feel like we did when we were lying down at the start, just feel this spreading, this heavying, this really deep connection of all the points of contact between your body and the floor. Just for a moment. Great. And then we're going to come into some stretches. So from here, just stretch your left leg forward, but keep the sole of the foot into the groin for Jani Shirshasana. So we're going to do 2 versions of Jani Shirshasana, and I'm going to give you invitations. It's not for everybody. So this half lotusy stuff we're going to do now, if you've got tight hips, it's probably not going to be for you. So I'll give you the modifications. Do those which the preparatory, gently and gradually open the body for half lotus. So you could either just do Janu Shirshasana A as normal. For those that wish to, you could try B, where we take the fingertips behind us, we slide the hips forward, and we sink the seat of Mula Bandha that we were just connecting with, the center of the perineum. We kind of plonk that down on the heel, and it's not particularly comfortable when we're not used to it. And then we either stay here, or if it feels safe in the knee, we come forward. So Janu Shirshasana A or B, your choice. Taking a few breaths, you just might wish to explore something new. Don't force, listen to the feedback from the knee. Keep the left foot flexed, keep the right foot flexed, whichever version you're in. Right toes are pointing towards left toes. And at the end of your next exhale, inhale to look up. And then if you're in the B position, make sure you take the hands back so you can safely just slide the hips back off the heel. And before we swap sides, we're just going to either repeat, or some of you might want to come into a half lotus version. So if you're coming into the half lotus, really seal the right knee joint completely. Make sure there's no gap there. And then it's like we kind of move from the hip, really. We move from the hip to bring that right knee down and bring the sole of the right foot as close to the left hip joint as possible. So hopefully the right knee is more or less close to the floor. If it's really high, definitely don't move forward and just be really careful. Maybe come back to just January. So January is your preparatory posture. If you're in the half lotus, there is an option here to bind. You can reach your right hand behind you. You might find the toes of the right foot with the right foot with the right hand, or you could put a strap around the foot and reach around and hold the strap. Okay. Or you just don't hold the foot. And then if it feels okay in the knee, either Janu A or half lotus or half bound lotus, we're going to come forward again, just for another few breaths, keeping left foot fully flexed. So if you're in the half lotus, the reason I'm bringing this in today, we don't do half lotus stuff often, is because it's a really strong stretch for the ankle. And it's really good for opening up the ankle joint when you start to work with lotus, half lotus. So the left foot is flexed. If you're in Janu Shirshasana, the right foot's also flexed. But if you're in the half lotus, the right foot's strongly pointed and it's supinating, I think, but it's also stretching laterally. So it's a very big stretch, half lotus. And then at the end of your exhale, slowly come up. If you're in half lotus, be very careful to come out, maybe massage the right knee joint. And we'll do those two options on the other side. So it might be that you just do Janu Shirshasana twice, and that's brilliant. If we are using this as a preparatory posture, really try and keep the left foot flexed as best you can. And then taking the hands forward, or Janu B, we take the hands behind us, slide the hips forward, sink the pelvic floor down onto the heel. If it feels okay, take the hands forward, Janu A or B, 5 or so slow deep breaths here. And let your focus be on really strongly flexing the left foot and the right foot. So still foot awareness. And then slowly coming up. You could just stay in Janu Shirshasana and just stay down there if you know you're going back into that. Otherwise, possibly half lotus. So sealing that left knee joint and kind of moving from the hip. Don't force it from the knee, move from the hip, bringing the sole of the left foot into the right hip crease and then moving from the hip to drop the left knee down to the floor, close to the floor. Staying upright, or again, if it feels okay, come forward, maybe with that bind, or maybe using the strap to move towards the bind. Using the strap's a really good way to start to open the foot for half lotus. So your choice here. Janu Shirshasana is a wonderful posture to spend a lot of time in, so don't worry if that's where you find yourself again. It's a classic. Sorry about my dog. A couple more breaths. My dog's on heat, so there's probably a male dog around. Okay, so slowly coming up. Unwind carefully out of the posture. time has raced by tonight. I'm not going to get to do half the things we wanted to do, but we will just do a little look at Baddha Konasana. So bring the right foot to join the left foot now, soles of the feet together, and see if we can peel the soles of the feet open towards the ceiling. So again, we're just working with mobilizing the ankle joints in different ways. This might not be possible for you, so just do what you can. You could, if this is really difficult for you, you could do the opposite. You could push the soles of the feet really actively together, which the knees will come up higher, but it's another way to work with this foot awareness. But otherwise, we're opening the soles of the feet, we're lifting up through the spine, drawing the shoulders back, chin in. And it's like you're looking down, you're reading the book of your life through the soles of your feet, is how I've had it described to me by a teacher, and I love that. Our feet do tell many stories, certainly about the body. Just give your feet some love, some awareness, some attention, some appreciation. The feet do so much for us and are often much neglected. Slowly release that and come down. We've got time. We've just got time for one more seated posture, which I'd really like to do. I'd like us to have a go at half hero. So this might not be, but for those who it is possible for, we're going to again stretch the top of the foot. So we're going to come onto the top of the foot, and the heel's going to be to the outside of the hip. You might need to sit on a block. And if it's really not appropriate for you, it could be Jani Shishasana again, but like I say, you can't, as a preparatory posture, you can't get enough of that shape of the legs, okay? So Jani Shishasana legs or half hero, half virasana. And then we can stay here. This is enough. If the right knee's off the floor, this is definitely enough. Just focus on to internally rotate, keep the knees together and press the knees down. Otherwise, we can explore coming back, maybe lifting the chest, maybe coming down onto the elbows. If at any point the knee pops up, then that's your limit. If you're on a block, probably the elbows is going to be your limit, but some of you might get all the way down to the floor and come to the reclined half hero, stretching the arms back and really focusing on internally rotating that right thigh, pressing the right knee down towards the left knee. You're also aware of the left leg. The left leg is flat, or the left foot is flexed, and there's an anchor here for you. A couple more breaths. Okay, and those of you who are all the way down, we're going to come up the way we went in. So come up onto the elbows first, climb onto the hands, and everybody come all the way up. If you need to come out at this point, do. Otherwise, we're going to find, this is an invitation, half lotus in the left foot. I love this posture. You safely half lotus the left leg and you bring the left foot to the right hip crease. I know this isn't for everyone. And again, there's that option to bind. Those who aren't doing half lotus, you just bring the sole of the left foot to the to touch the right thigh. If you're in Jani Shishasana, then you're just going to stay in Jani Shishasana, I'm afraid. Okay, but we'll twist. So we're all going to twist wherever we're at. So if you've got the bind, or again, you could use the strap, you're going to take your right hand to the outside of your right thigh, just above the knee, and look over your left shoulder. And that's the same. So we're either half bound or left foot on the floor, twisting, left hand on the floor behind you if you're not binding. Or if you're in Janu Shirshasana, your left leg is straight and you're twisting it again to the left hand behind you, or reaching all the way around for your right thigh. So everybody's twisting to the left, whatever your legs are doing. And at the end of the exhale, unwind, come back to the center. If you're in that half hero, just maybe lean to the left, slowly come out, massage the knee joint if you need. And then lean to the right, come to the other side. So sit on a block if you need. Remember, you're not sitting on your left heel. I'll change directions, you can see. And the knees are together as best you can. Try to keep them rolling inwards together. staying upright, Janu Shirshasana leg if that's better for you, or start that journey of coming back onto the hands and arching the spine, down onto the elbows, left fingers to left toes, arching the spine. If the knee is still down and you're not on a block, you could try the full reclining hero, reaching the hands back, internally rotating that left thigh, pressing the knee down and in, anchoring down through the back of the right leg, right toes up towards the ceiling. If you're in Janu Shirshasana, with the sole of the left foot to the inner right thigh, you're still going back. You could be in a supine version of this, a lying down version of Janu Shirshasana, and get a lovely opening for the front body. Okay, so something for everybody. And notice your frustration if you find yourself doing a lot of Janu Shirshasana, and just see if you can let that be your yoga, to be in acceptance and know that this is the right place for your body. If you're all the way down, coming back the way you went in, climbing onto the elbows, climbing onto the hands, come out of that shape of the left leg if you need. Otherwise, again, our 3 options: half lotus of the right leg, sealing that right joint, pressing the right knee down, and then maybe right hand on the floor, maybe find the bind, maybe use a strap, left hands to the outside of the right knee. Same twist, but with the right foot touching the left thigh, twisting to the left, or you've got the right leg straight, Janu Shirshasana leg, and we're twisting to the right, towards the straight leg. Breathe deep, couple more breaths. Unwinding back to the front, coming down onto your backs. And I had some really good ideas for things we were going to do at the end, but we're not going to manage them all. But let's just do one back bend, but we'll do a 3-legged back bend to really focus on this foot awareness. So come to lie down on your back and just bring the heels close to the buttocks, spread the soles, connect to the sacrum and the soles. And you could do this with a block under the sacrum as well. So we're going to inhale, lift the hips. If you want to work dynamically, don't use the block. But if you do want a bit of support here, place the block underneath the sacrum on any of its 3 heights. Okay, interlace the hands underneath the back. And just find both feet pressing actively in the floor. Try to press, again, find those 3 points of the feet and press evenly through them. There's a very strong tendency to supinate, to go towards the little toe edges in this posture. So don't forget the big toe edge of the foot. And then see if it's possible for you to raise the right leg. If you're on the block, it's going to be a lot easier. If you don't have a block, you're going to have to really press down through that left foot. Feel the left thigh, work hard as you extend the right leg up. And then exhale, lower the right foot down. Just re-establish the evenness of both feet down. Find those 3 points again. Put all your awareness in your right foot. Try to minimize the shifting of the hips as you raise the left leg. So if we're super aware of that right foot and leg, as we lift the opposite leg, then there should be minimal movement in the hips. And then exhale, release, find the evenness in the feet again, maybe a couple more breaths. If you really want to go into a full wheel at this point, just give yourself a few breaths there. Otherwise, after a few more breaths, slowly wind the spine down and consciously place the sacrum down, shrug the shoulders back, seal the skin of the back to the floor, take the feet forwards and mat distance apart. So we haven't really had time to look at the sacrum that much as I wanted, so maybe that's another class. I also really wanted to finish with an inversion focus to give the feet a rest, but again, I think that's going to be another class. So let's just work with this foot mobility one more time by windscreen wiping the knees. As you exhale, take the knees over to the right, the feet are mat distance apart. Inhale to the center, exhale, knees the other side. So if you put your awareness in your feet, just notice that we're doing that same thing again of supination, pronation. We're rolling from big toe edge to little toe edge. So massaging, opening the feet, super beneficial for the feet. Next time you come to the right, you can just stay for a few breaths. You could pick up the right foot and just rest it on the outer left thigh. You could extend the arms in line with the shoulders. You could even look over the left shoulder or just keep looking up to the ceiling. Let's take some kind of integrating breaths here. So really Shavasana. Releasing the right leg. If the right leg is hooked, make sure the feet stay mat distance apart. Inhale up to the center and exhale, roll onto the other edges of the feet to bring the knees over to the left. And pause and breathe and maybe pick up that left foot, rest it on the outside of the right thigh above the knee. Take some slow, deep breaths. Then at the end of the next exhale, release the left foot if you lifted it up. Come back to the center. We haven't really got time for a big inversion practice. If you really need a shoulder stand or a headstand, just, we've got 4 minutes left basically. So I'm gonna, if you've got extra time, then you might want to do your inversion. But otherwise, my invitation is to come to happy baby, which does count as an inversion. Because we bring the hands to the feet, so we're holding the little toe edge, we're flexing the feet, and just enjoy that feeling of hands meeting feet here, feeling the energetic circuit. There's millions of incredible amounts of nerve endings in the hands on the feet. Just enjoy this kind of more gentle inversion this evening. You could explore pushing the right foot into the right hand to straighten the right leg, or come towards straight and come back. And do the same with the left leg. And kind of stretching one side of the pelvic floor and the other. And you might even want to do both. You might want to do both at the same time and come to Supta Upravishta instead of happy baby, which is the same, but we're still holding the little toe edges of the feet, but we've got the legs straight now. Trying to keep the sacrum pressing to the floor if you take Supta Upravishta. If you straighten the legs, come back to happy baby, and then just bring the knees together now and just hug the knees into the chest. And just take, again, just a very gentle restorative inversion to give the feet a rest. Inversions are super beneficial for many, many reasons, but one of them is that we give the legs and the feet a rest. So you might even just want to straighten the legs up towards the ceiling for a moment. Just to really feel that anti-gravitational benefit, and then hug the knees into the chest. So this is our final posture. Again, if you want to massage that sacrum, roll side to side or mini circles, slowing the breath right down. And when you feel ready, just find your way into Shavasana, which is really the ultimate grounding posture in some ways. And it's specifically designed to encourage this opening of the back body to the earth. So the hands are away from the sides and the palms are up. This encourages external rotation of the arms and shoulder blades. The feet are slightly wider than the hips and just flopping out to the sides. Again, just encouraging that external rotation of the legs. And this is just all helping us drop into the support of the floor. So just before we let go completely, just feel the points of contact that you feel in the back of the head, the shoulder blades, elbows, back of the hands, calves, buttocks, heels, whatever it is for you, maybe parts of the back. And just feel a conscious heavying of these parts of the body. Feel a spreading and melting of the skin into the support of the floor. Just feel a gentle kind of melting feeling, spreading feeling, heavying feeling through the whole body, which at the same time is like a feeling of expansion and lightness. It's a strange paradox. The heavier we get, the lighter and more expansive we can simultaneously become. Support the floor. And let go. Feel this as a grounding resource. Shavasana.
you have longer, stay in Shavasana, ground, heavy yourself for longer. Those closing with me. Start to deepen the breath. Being very aware of your body lying on the floor. To move fingers, toes, head. Taking a full body stretch, flexing, pointing the feet. And just gently, via any stretches you need, just find your way back to seated to close or stay in Shavasana. Just consciously close the class in a way meaningful to you, maybe just bringing the palms together, maybe bowing the head to the hands, just a sense of gratitude to yourself actually for practicing, maybe to your feet, for all that they do for you, your ankles and your feet. Maybe the earth always supporting you. Just notice how you feel after your practice. Yoga is inherently grounding. The regular yoga practice can ground and embody us. Help us center. Notice how you feel. Feel ready to do so, opening the eyes again. Thank you for sharing practice this evening with me. Namaste. And I'll see you soon.